what's up? My name is Meg. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing a walkthrough of my personal... Why can't I not find the words now? I call it the library, which is my system of how I organize books, keep track of books, everything along the lines of that. Like, I just want to be as organized as I possibly can. This is also the way that I know whether or not I own a book or if it's offered on Kindle Unlimited or anything along those lines. So I will be screen recording on my laptop, and right now I had it shut down. Oh, look at Nugget. And she's so cute! Okay, but anyways, so we have our Notion. We are going through on my library, which I call the library. I have a bunch of I have my rating system over here to the left. I have 2 images that I thought were very bookish. I have a few quotes. I have my spicy scale. I have the total amount of books that I've read. One of the quotes is, "Reading is my safest place and my wildest adventure." Then I have a photo that says, "I like books more than people." And then it says, "Books may well be the only true magic." And then right underneath my dragon on top of books, it says, "In the end, we all become stories." Now, if we look over, I have direct links. So underneath everything, as you can see, I put everything in alphabetical order. So we go to authors, and then these are all of the authors that have written books that I have read, everything like that. There are a couple that I need to update, of course, but so like here we'll use Miss Emily Rath as an example. So in the book, it shows the book itself. So we have Emily Rath, and then as you can see, I made a template for author name, and then it goes directly into the master database. So now for this, we're gonna click sort, and then we already have a filter, and then we go to Emily Rath, and then it shows all of the books in which Miss Emily Rath has written. So like if, let's say, for some reason I want to go to Josie Silver, here's another one. Author name, go to sorting, go to filter, Josie Silver, and it shows the 2 lives of Lydia Bird. So now this is just a way so I can be able to tell all of the books that has been written by this particular author. So like for Sarah J. Maas, these are all the books that she has written. So now that we have that, we're gonna go back to the library. So now what we have is we have genre. So now in genre, so I recently read Book Lovers by Miss Emily Henry. So it's the same kind of system that we have for the authors. It's just another database that links to our master database. So we click on the genre template, and then we're gonna go to the sort, filter out, and do books about books. So now we are going to add an icon, just because I personally love little icon, and then we're also going to add a cover however you want. I personally like having multiple different things that we know. Once again, magical realism. We're gonna click sort, genre, magical realism. We're gonna actually do sparkles, Upsplash. I just use Upsplash. So we have all of them and more. I've been trying to go away from just regular like romance or paranormal. Like, I'm trying to go more in depth as I continue to add books to my thing. So lately I've been adding, like, if a book has monsters, I've been adding monsters. If it contains music, I put music in. I have a book that's a manga book, but really, like, that's probably the only book that I'm gonna have. But like any books that involve an LGBT, I have hockey romances. We also have Western romance. We have witches, urban fantasy, vampires. We have ones that specifically just say smut. So if literally the book is mainly smut, like, that's exactly where it would go. So going back to the library, we now have our goals, which is another database that is linked to our year database. For this year, I've read so far, as I'm filming this, I've read 67 books when my goal was 50. So I made progress at 134%, which actually, if you look down below, I read 68 books last year and I was at 136%. And so we link it to the year. I also want to complete 4 book series. So far we have completed 2, so we are at halfway with that right now. Going back, we have any series that are connected. So the Camp Half-Blood Chronicles, like these are all books that pertain to like Percy Jackson, but I have also some where it's like I really haven't gone too far into like the connected series, but it's there. Then overall we have our series. We have all of this series in which we have read. We always put the cover page as the first book in the series. Now, for example, we also have our series tracker, because as you can see, there's a series connected. I have a series tracker, which we shall get to, but these are all of my series. If you haven't noticed, I like having cover pages. So for the series, it says, you know you've read a good book when you turn the last page and feel a little as if you've lost a friend. So going back to the library, we have our series tracker. Now these are all of the series tracker. We have a not started, we have an in progress, we have an up to date, and we have completed, and then we have a DNF. So not started is clearly really long. My in progress, once again, is clearly pretty long. Some of these, like for example the cat and mouse duet, I just have not yet read Satan's Affair and Where's Molly. Those are the only 2 that otherwise technically I have completed it, but it's a part of the cat and mouse duet. So, and then like Devil's Night, I have completed all of them but Fire Night, but that's more of like a Christmas book, so I was gonna wait till like around Christmas to do that. Now, going back to the library once again, I specifically put this one in, but I did make a template and it's not in that, but we have a special edition, which is just showing all of the books in which I have special editions of when I have the regular book. Then we have tropes, which honestly I use, but at the same time I really don't use, so it's just kind of hard to say. So once again, it's the database, filtering out tropes, everything like that. Then all of the direct links. Then we have quotes. So this is all of the quotes that I have found make a new one. So new, here you'd put the full title so that way it can be organized outside of it. So like let's say it just hello, full title, hi, number 3. And then we have quotes. So now it opens up to a page number if you have one, the quote itself, the characters involved, and then the emotions you feel as you have read that quote, whatever. So now we're gonna go back to our library, and then now we have our overall master list, which has all of the books that we have. Now, I typically keep it on the red just because I personally like seeing what books I have read recently. So those are all the books that I have read lately. I have currently reading, then we have all of the books that are just specifically on our TBR. Some of these we don't even have, like Accomplice to the Villain. That one comes out in August. We also have a DNF. So these 3 have been DNF'd. We have rereads, so books that we have already read but we are wanting to reread eventually. So a lot of them are books from my younger age years, from childhood, like City of Ember, but I still would love to reread. We also have, so that kind of goes to show, and then we also have an unhauled. So these are all books that were in my database that I have unhauled, but like I said, I like to keep it usually particular on the books that I have read. So if we scroll down, now we have a book, we have another quote that says, reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are, by Mason Cooley. And then as you can see here, we have years. I'll get to the graphs and stuff in a second, but we have years. So for 2025, these are all the books that I have read so far this year in 2025. Now, if I go back up, we're going to the most recent. So we're going to look at Keeping 13, and like we have Keeping 13, then we have it by the full title, so Boys of Tommen number 2. Then we have the author, which goes to our author database, so we have Chloe Walsh. Then we just have it going by her last name, so that way we also always include the cover, so that way that's what the card can show. I'm actually going to input a book that that I got yesterday, and I will kind of show you my process as to how I do all that. So we have the date started, date finished. For my red, I have it all organized by the date finished. We have the genres in which it is under, the status, like I said, we have unhauled, DNF, to be reread, to be read, currently reading, and read. Then we have our rating system, so it's 1 through 5, whether or not we own a physical copy, what the page count is, how many times we've read it overall, the years that we have read it in, whether or not it's offered on Kindle Unlimited, any notes that I may have. This is where we attach our quotes to what I had shown you. I have a rating number 2 because I have in one of the lists that I have it so that way I can see my average rating. I have the reading log, which I'll get to. I have the series, whether there's a series connected, any special editions connected, little bit of spice for Boys of Tommen. And then we have the tropes, so like high school, and then whether or not I have unhauled it. If I have read it multiple times, then I have made a template for whether or not I have changed in review. So these are the stars that I like to use. So I keep them down there. So I have the dates that I read. So like, let's say I've read it January of 2022. Then the star rating, I would highlight, copy, paste over here, put my notes if I had any. Then we would actually move that one down and we would put the newest one in. So let's say it was July of 2024, the star rating, and then seeing whether or not my opinion has changed between the 2 times. Now, I typically only use this if my changing an opinion has happened that I change it. So like if I were to reread this in a year from now, then I would take these dates and I would input that into that table below, and then I would put the updated dates. Now going down, like I said, we have the year, so I click on the year. I have these little button things that I have that I can say how many books I read in the total amount a year. So now here, this is what I actually pay for like Notion Premium, and I pay for it so that way I can say like, oh, these are the authors that I have read. So overall right now, my number 1 author that I have read is Rick Riordan with the score of 21. And then it goes all throughout whoever else I may. Then we have the genre read, so what has become the most popular through it. So obviously Romantasy is pretty popular. We have our overall ratings. So we have our 4-star, our 5-star. Then we have status. So I currently have 2 currently being read. I have 2 DNF'd, I have 17 unhauled, I have 28 to be reread. Then we have our read, which is at 147, and then at our TBR we have 157. That is quite a bit. And then we also have one more, which is pages read, which obviously is very chaotic to look at, but like we have one that was over 1,200 pages. So now if we scroll down even more, we have the reading log. So keeping 13, we add that there, we add the format, we read it via physical book. So I have audiobook via the library, I have an audiobook via Spotify, I have Kindle, so if I physically bought it on the Kindle, then we have Kindle Unlimited, and then we have the physical book. So status, we read it, and then this is where I do the end date. We read it from the 10th to the 13th. So then obviously you can see here it does that. Okay, so I went up and I grabbed the books. I have 3 books in hand that we are going to input into our database. All right, so for the first one, we have Scarlett St. Clair's Terror at the Gates. And this is where we use Goodreads quite a bit. So we're gonna title it Terror at the Gates. And then we go over to our Goodreads. So as you can see, the full title is Blood of Lilith, number 1. Author, it is Scarlett St. Clair. And then we haven't had her in the database yet, so I'm gonna assume that her last name is St. Clair. And then here we go over, ignore how many tabs I have open. So terror at Yates. Then we go to images, we pick out the image, we save it down, we just type something that we can remember, and then we put that into the database. So now what we do is we go back to our Goodreads and we go to the genre. So we scroll all the way down and it says urban fantasy, it has magic, paranormal. Like, we're trying to be as specific as possible. So now it says fantasy, romance, romantasy. Usually if it says that, I just automatically just put it into romantasy. And then it is also a retelling. And then it's also an adult book. So that is kind of how I categorize the genre. Then we go to the page count. So since I have the book in front of me, because sometimes it'll actually give you, if you're not paying close enough attention, it'll actually give you 474. It'll give you like the Kindle amount of pages. Then we go and we check the physical copy because that's what we have. And then we're gonna go over to Kindle Unlimited and see yet if it is offered on Kindle Unlimited. It's not offered on Kindle Unlimited, so we wouldn't box it. So now we have series. It's Blood of Lilith. So Blood of Lilith. Now here we're gonna go to the series, do the series Blood of Lilith, and then we add the cover photo of what we have there, and then it should be put into the series. Shows Blood of Lilith, and then we go to the series tracker, and then here we just do to-do list, and it's terror at the gates. So now going back, we are going to the next book that we have is, so this is all for the TBR. So next we have Julie Clark's Ghost Writer. So in this one has sprayed edges. So typically if it has the sprayed edges, that's what I put it in with. So that way I kind of know that like that's the book that I already got. The Ghost Writer. So it's not part of a title by Julie Clark. Author's last name Clark. Cover, we need to go back. Ghost Writer. And it doesn't really show it too well, so we'll just take the regular book cover that we have. Then we add it there. Now we're gonna look at the genre of the book, which says thriller, mystery, horror, suspense, crime, and adult. I'm assuming that it more so probably has like adult themes. Then we are going to how many pages it is. 328. Page count 328. And then it's not a part of a series, so everything else we can leave blank. Next, we have Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. Gifted and Talented. There is no full title, and we already have Olivia Blake in my system. So now we need the cover. Now for the genre, we scroll all the way down in Goodreads, and it has magical realism. It has magic. It has science fiction, paranormal, fantasy, and urban fantasy. So we have the physical copy. Physical copy? To me, that's wrong. So it's $4.93. And then once again, not a series, anything else. Perfect. Everything's all filled out. That is it, besties. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy today's video of my Notion tour. I have made templates for it, a template of it, so if you did want like how I set up my Notion system, then please comment down below and I shall be selling the templates if you are interested in it, only if you're interested in it. So either give it a like, give it a comment, do all of the YouTube things you know how to do, and I will see you in a bit.